Hello and welcome to another podcast from BlumenFalck Film Talk. This week, I'm going to talk about some fun and cool New Year movies to watch. Okay, first of all, The Poseidon Adventure, one of the first 70s disaster films directed by Ronald Neame. Basically, this film is about a huge ship that celebrates the New Year's Eve that is going from New York to Greece. And basically, they celebrate New Year's Eve when a disaster happens and the ship flips over, completely flips upside down. And it's basically, I believe the tagline is Hell Upside Down. And I love this film. I think it's really fun. It stars a bunch of great actors. Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, one of my favorite actors ever. Roddy McDowall, another of one of my favorite actors. Stella Stevens, the great Shelley Winters, Red Buttons, Carol Lindley, Leslie Nielsen, who plays the captain of the ship. Jack Albertson, a bunch of actors. Pamela Sue Martin as the young girl. And yeah, and I think it's a really fun movie. It's got a really, really beautiful New Year's celebration scene, and it's a really epic, gigantic film. If you get a chance to see this film in the cinema, I definitely recommend it. It's a really, really epic film. Very fun, lots of fun adventure. Yeah, not really a happy film, but it's just really cool, and it's a fun film to watch on New Year's, in my opinion. Yeah, really, really fun adventure. Okay, next is Emmett Alston's New Year's Evil. So this is a horror movie that happens on New Year's Eve, and I actually did a review of this film on Context and Craft of our channel. I'll link the description below. This is a really, really, surprisingly, really good, underrated slasher film, which has a really cool and interesting, script. And it's basically about this woman who's singing and doing a show, a filmed show for New Year's Eve for TV. And basically she gets these phone calls from this crazy guy who threatens to kill a person every time the clock strikes midnight, New Year's, at every time zone in America. So he threatens to kill all these people, and it's a surprisingly really cool and fun movie, which has a lot of actually funny jokes and really entertaining and fun film. And it stars Rip Niven as the crazy killer, Roz Kelly as the main female character, also stars Louisa Moritz from stuff like Last American Virgin, which I also actually reviewed on the channel, also Cuckoo's Nest, yeah, stuff like that, and also stars Grant Kramer as the son of Roz Kelly. And it's a really fun horror film that also has a really, really great soundtrack, really, really good music. Okay, next, another slasher film, Terror Train. Okay, so Terror Train, I believe it was released already when Jamie Lee Curtis became the Scream Queen with Prom Night. And so this, I believe, was released after Prom Night. And so this is really like the fourth horror film with Jamie Lee Curtis after Halloween, Prom Night, The Fog, and now Terror Train. So Terror Train also happens on New Year's Eve, and it's basically a really, really fun New Year's celebration that happens on this vintage train. One of my dreams is to go on a vintage train ride. I think it would be absolutely amazing. Anyways, so Terror Train happens on New Year's Eve. These college kids are celebrating New Year's, and however, there's this crazy killer who was dressed in a Groucho mask for some reason. Very sad to see Groucho as a crazy killer. So basically, there's this guy who kills all of these kids one by one, who eventually gets to Jamie Lee Curtis, because it's basically about Jamie Lee Curtis and some friends who do a prank on this kid who gets so scared and traumatized that he plans to take revenge on these kids who pulled this horrible prank on him on New Year's, I believe, a couple years back. And basically, it's a really, really fun movie. Lots of really beautiful production design, lots of costumes. It's basically a carnival, so everyone has a cool costume on. And it's a really, really like stylish and fun, sort of flashy horror film, which is a really cool film to watch at night, particularly. And yeah, it's a really, really fun, cool slasher film with Jamie Lee Curtis. And next, we have Roman Polanski's masterpiece of many, Bitter Moon. So this film was controversial, I believe, and even Polanski's wife, Emmanuelle Seigneur, said that possibly this film was a bad idea. Yeah, I guess you either love it or hate it. I think it's amazing. It basically changed my life. I thought it was an absolutely incredible film. Very shocking, very like eye-opening. And yeah, and it's a really interesting film. It's sort of an erotic romantic thriller. And it's got an incredible climactic New Year's Eve scene, which is just so powerful and so amazing. And it's basically about a kind of weird marriage between, well, really weird marriage between Peter Coyote and Emmanuelle Seigneur. And it's just a really powerful and like strange film. It's got a really good screenplay by Polanski and Gerard Broch, and also John Brown John. So it also stars Hugh Grant and Kristen Scott Thomas, who is, well, she's an amazing actress and she's really, really good here. And yeah, so it's really, really, really incredible, sort of life-changing film. And yeah. Okay, and now for a more happy note, we have, of course, Mr. Bean's Do-It-Yourself, Mr. Bean. This is, of course, a classic thing to watch on New Year's Eve, in my opinion. So it's the great episode with Mr. Bean's probably only friends, Rupert and Hubert. And yeah, it's really, really funny. Obviously, it's so funny how he feeds his friends branches off a tree because he runs out of like chocolate sticks. So good. And obviously how he decides to remodel his kitchen. And then, of course, the paint job, the explosion, and of course how the fat guy, who is either Rupert or Cupid, I don't remember, leaves his mark in Mr. Bean's house. Hilarious episode. I love it. Really, really funny. Great thing to watch on New Year's. And now we have a special guest, who is my mother, who is Russian, and who's going to tell us a little bit about two great New Year's films that Russians watch on New Year's. Hello, Mom.
Hi.
So, tell us about these two films.
Well, I would say that we have one traditional New Year movie that we Russian people watch every year whenever we're doing cooking, cleaning. This movie is on. And the name of this movie is Ирония судьбы или с легким паром, or The Irony of Fate, or Enjoy Your Bath. This film is made by Eldar Rязанов, our famous, very famous director who made wonderful movies. This movie, Irony of Fate, I would say that I was a little girl, like I think 9 years old or something, and this movie was so funny that I was actually laughing, just falling down on the floor. But this is a wonderful, kind, and joyful movie full of romance, love. So the movie you should actually watch on New Year Eve. A funny thing is that if you quote a joke from this movie and the person doesn't get it, he's a spy. He's not a Russian. Because all Russians just know this film by heart. And the stars in this movie, very, I think, famous, one of the most famous actors, Russian actors, as Andrei Mягков, Yuri Yakovlev, and Barbara Brylsky, who is actually a Bulgarian actress. And the thing is that she does not speak in this movie. And another actress who is also in the movie playing a different character.
Dubs her, yeah?
Yeah, she dubs her. She is the voice of Barbara Brylsky.
Who is it?
It's Valentina Telizina, and she actually, she plays a different character in the same movie, and she's the voice of Barbara Brylsky. Another beautiful, brilliant actor is Lilia Ahedjakova. And so, of course, I can't tell everything about this movie, what I love about it, but I would say that this is the movie that just makes your day, really. Also, this movie has an incredibly beautiful music made by Mikhail Tereverdiev and wonderful songs by Alla Pugacheva and Sergei Nikitin. This music makes this movie unforgettable.
Yeah, it's really got Morricone level music. It's that incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Armando Travaioli level music.
Yes, beautiful music. And it was made in 1975 or 76, right? 75, I think. And since that time, it's still alive. It's so brilliant, it's so funny, it's so full of love that it's worth watching on the...
The second one probably shouldn't watch, right?
No.
The second one you probably shouldn't watch.
No.
No?
It's a different.
There's a sequel, right?
It's completely different. It's a different movie made by a different director, and it's a different movie.
But with
I can't even compare.
Same actors, right?
The same actors who are 50 years
old. Yeah, it's very bad, though,
no,
right?
it's not worth really. Well, and so another movie by the same director that was very popular, and again, the brilliant, I think, and funny movie is A Carnival Night or Карнавальная ночь. I think it was one of the first movies by Rязанов. This movie is so bright, so, again, kind, and so hysterically funny at that time, because it was made in 1956. So at that time, it was really a brave, I would say, and funny movie. Full of music. And the star in this movie is Lyudmila Gurchenko, who is a brilliant singer, actually. She performs perfectly. It's a great performance of Lyudmila Gurchenko.
So is it a musical or it's not a musical?
Yes. Yeah? It's made as a musical concert on the New Year Eve. And so funny thing, and again, love... story happens, but cool. So the stars were Lyudmila Gurchenko and Yuri Belov and Vladimir Zeldin and Igor Ilinsky. Great performance, just brilliant performance. As for me, I just love this director, and I think there are many movies like Garage, Office Romance, The Promised Heaven, Italians in Russia.
Yeah.
And Старики-разбойники.
Old Men and Bandits, I don't know.
Something like this, and Берегись автомобиля. What is, you should look.
Also, actually, The Unbelievable Adventures of Italians in Russia stars Ninetto Davari, Pasolini's boyfriend. Yeah.
But there's another star in that movie who was one of the most famous actors, and I think he's the great actor, is Andrei Mironov. He's the star in the movie also. And that's it, guys. I hope I gave you some good recommendations of some films to watch on New Year's. And I wish you a happy new year and see you in 2019.